You're listening to What She Said on Canada Talks.
Hello there, I'm Christine Bentley with Kate Wheeler, and we have two guests who are not only perfect together, but perfect for the lead up to Valentine's Day, right, Kate?
Absolutely. We have Alex Powell and Priya Rao, the founders of AVineRomance. Welcome to What She Said.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Anything to do with wine, and we're in.
Well,
Even at 10:20 in the morning.
No, see, champagne.
every time is a good time.
Champagne would be okay at 10:20 in the morning. I'm just not sure about a nice glass of red.
Yeah.
It's a little early.
You know, it's to each their own.
To each their own.
Yeah, but you know,
works.
it's
You
5
just-
o'clock somewhere in the world.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And you have to balance. If you drink too much wine, now you need tea and coffee.
That
If you
sounds
have too
good.
much of that, you go back to wine.
So tell us how you two met, first of all.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a long story, so we'll just make it short. I saw him working out topless in a park.
Okay, that'll
One
do.
happy
This
hot
is a great story.
Canada
I
Day.
just know it already.
And then 3 days later, on July 4th, I saw him walking down the street topless, and I said, okay, gods, I hear you. I shall take charge of this. And smiled at him, came over, and that was it.
Really?
That was it.
You smiled and that was it?
I stared him down, let me put it that way. And then he was...
The traffic lights had something to do with it, too.
They turned red, he turned around, I said hi. And
what was your reaction to this woman coming up to you and saying hi?
Well, it was the second time I saw her. I saw her in a park the first time as well. While I was exercising, I was looking also.
Right.
So there
And
was.
then I said, I did a double take. I was like, whoa, is that the same girl? Could it be? And the light turned red, so I said, all right, I'm going to go over and check it out.
So then, how did AVineRomance come to be?
well, it's funny, that very first day that he stopped on the street, I asked him where he was heading topless, and he said to the liquor store. So he was off to get some wine, and just because he's had such a passion for wine and I know nothing about it, it's been a huge learning curve for me, and we just thought, this is a good balance. Somebody who's such an expert in the field balanced with somebody who's just a casual drinker.
And but I mean, okay, so you had conversations,
Yeah.
and so you found out that he knew an awful lot about wine, and then at what point did you do this aha, well, maybe we should go somewhere, do something with this?
People kept asking us questions, our friends. Anytime they'd come over, they'd ask him questions about wine. And it was just a natural progression from that. We thought we'd start doing some YouTube videos and then answer the common questions that we'd hear. And he just became a resource for our friends, and I became sort of the foil, you know,
Right.
to his expertise.
And when Priya and I first met too, I was just getting into wine, so she was there the whole way through my fanatic obsession.
And why are you obsessed with wine? What intrigues you so much?
Wine, it's just one of the things that's so beautiful about wine is that you can enjoy it first off, but the more you train your senses to appreciate it, the better it becomes, and it keeps getting better. And then the thing is that wine can give a depth like no other thing can that humans have created yet.
Really?
Through the senses.
A bigger depth than chocolate?
Well, now we're...
Yeah.
Now we're talking a culmination of food mastery as well.
But the wonderful thing about what I've read about you is that you really say that you can enjoy wine in every sort of price point.
Absolutely.
Which some people, I mean, I know a lot of wine snobs,
Mm-hmm.
and unless it's, you know, from this region and
Oh,
this price point, they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean, they've already, you know.
Discarded it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Alex leans towards the wine snobbery side, but he's pretty good about enjoying anything that's well made at any price point.
Well, the thing is, unless you are rich and money doesn't really matter to you, this is the most expensive thing in the world. So the question of money has to come into it. And if it's going to be expensive, it better be worth it. $20 wine is not a cheap wine. $20 should give you a good experience. $30, it better be great. And above $30, then, if it's not exceptional, you've overpaid.
I just want to tell our listeners a little bit. When we introduced you before we went to the commercial break, we said you were the yin and yang. And now I just want to run through a little of your history. So you're a small town boy from the Rock, from Newfoundland. Whereabouts? What town?
Small town called Ghouls.
Ghouls.
And I was not born with wealth.
Okay. You're a street smart Torontonian. Are you
I like to
from
think so.
here?
Yeah, born and
Okay.
raised.
You're a carnivore. You're a vegan.
That's right.
Primarily, but I can eat the vegetables too.
Okay, that's good. You lift weights, you do yoga.
Mm-hmm.
you're a wine. Alex is a wine expert, and Priya's a foodie.
Yes.
And I love this one. He's 25. She's older.
Well, you know, what does age matter when it comes to affairs of the heart?
You didn't tell me that was coming into it.
I didn't know that was coming either.
So,
okay, we've
but
made
this
our
has
peace with
worked for you. So
Yeah.
your friends started asking you questions, and you thought maybe we can turn this into a business, turn this
We
into an
actually
event.
didn't think of turning it into a business. We just thought we would do some fun videos, have some laughs, and answer the questions and start reviewing wine so that our friends knew what to look for. Because everybody goes to the liquor store. They buy the same old things, or they buy what's on promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted to help them out, to try and expand their horizons like Alex has expanded mine.
Yeah. Well, you're a sommelier with
Yeah.
Susurly.
Mm-hmm.
That's no small feat.
Mm-hmm.
It was Susurly that encouraged me to be so when
Really?
I first showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. He told you to take the course?
He told me that if I want to be a bartender, I'd better learn about wine as well. And then I started to learn about wine, and I just completely fell in love. But my father was already in love with this, so it was in my blood, I suppose.
Literally.
He's a newfie, so they're kind of born and bred to drink.
Yeah, I kind of had to leave. You know, a wine lover in Newfoundland.
That
Yeah.
really good.
Not really the best
Together,
place.
yeah, no screech there. My husband actually proposed to me at Susurly's first restaurant in Toronto.
Wow,
Lotus, yeah, on
Or
Torontonian
Lotus.
Street in Toronto. Tiny little restaurant. We used to love it. So we've known him, and he gave us a bottle of actually, it was organic wine back in the time when it wasn't really
Cool to be organic.
well,
or
and it
good.
didn't really taste that good either.
Mm.
That's probably why he gave it to us. So tell us about some of the events and tours that you offer.
Well, we just had a fabulous chocolate and wine pairing event, and I know those are two of your favorite things.
And we weren't invited. We're very upset.
No, I don't know how that... The invitation must have got lost in the mail. I can only blame Canada
It must
Post.
have gone to spam.
Yes. So that was a fantastic event at the Chocolateria. It's a local business on Ronsonsville, and they make the best chocolates, I think, that we've tasted in Toronto. And
For
they're
sure, and the
truly
best
passionate.
prices too.
The best prices, and we learned so much about chocolate, how it's similar to wine, that it from different regions it has different qualities.
So with Valentine's around the corner, what would you suggest to the men out there that are trying to impress their Valentines, or vice versa? Alex, what would you suggest?
Get your lady a nice wine, for sure. Don't get her a beer, don't get her a spirit, get a nice wine.
So, okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah.
What are the best wines to pair with chocolate, truffles, and oysters?
Oysters, I mean, if you don't mind blowing the budget a bit for Valentine's Day, then champagne is probably number one.
Okay.
But a dry white with a lot of depth, like a really good Chablis, Premier Cru or Grand Cru, it's going to be expensive, but they're just so powerful and tantalizing, and they often have the same value you get for a wine, $300.
So how much would that Chablis, do you think?
Oh, 50 plus. But a lot less than 100. Usually around $60, you can get yourself a killer Chablis that would just ignites the palate. So potent.
And what about chocolate?
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of chocolate, really.
Yes.
Okay,
So
well,
many
Kate's
options.
dark chocolate,
Okay.
and I'm milk chocolate. So,
Okay. Kate's probably a lady after my own heart. Amarone, I would be my
I love
favorite
Amarones and
pick.
Barolos. Barolos.
Yeah.
You love Barolos? Me too. I got a Barolo open at the house right now.
and for milk chocolate?
For milk chocolate, you want something a little lighter. Things that really work that I've found. There's a little Italian sparkling wine that's very inexpensive. It's only $12. Called Bricchetto d'Acqui. It's a rare form of red muscat grown in the Lang Hills, Piemonte, Barolo
Yeah.
land.
It's like it looks like a pink, sparkly, bubbly glass of
What about
delicious.
Like
Prosecco?
strawberries and cream in a glass. Prosecco works, but to me, it's not the best choice.
For milk chocolate. Okay.
You want to be a bit sweeter, like a white Greek muscat is really good too.
So then, how do people connect with you to find out about some of the events and tours and things you're doing?
Oh, they can email us at AVineRomance@outlook.com. And they can check out our website or our Facebook page or Twitter. It's all AVineRomance. They'll find us any way they can.
Or you can come to Susurly and find me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we need to ask you, since you have this company, AVineRomance, what are you guys going to do for Valentine? What are you going to give one another? I mean, How do you
That
beat
may be a
wine and
secret,
chocolate?
Christine.
Oh, that's a good
That
question. It might
was
be
a secret.
Oh.
I might have to reveal it right now.
Reveal.
You can.
You don't. No, you don't have to if you want to surprise her.
Well, Priya knows she's going to get an Amarone. She
It's
loves
my favorite
Amarone,
one.
but she's going to
Yes.
get a very good Amarone.
Okay.
Ooh.
And
For Alex is a chocolate lover, so he's gonna get some really delicious chocolates, some special chocolates.
so, are you going to share your Amarone?
Well, I can never finish an entire bottle, so I guess he can have
She
a
has
glass.
to.
Yeah, she has to. So, and one more question: is there any way when you're going into buy wine? You know, a lot of people are simply attracted by a label, and that
Yeah.
looks interesting. Is there any way you can tell anything by the label?
So when I look at a label, there's a few things I'm looking for. I'm looking for the alcohol level, the style of the wine. That's one of the biggest things. If the alcohol level is too high, I'm a classicist. I like the traditional style, I like an elegant, earthy wine. If the alcohol level is too high, it's
What
going
would
to be
be
too
too high?
fruity. Depends on what I'm looking at, but if I'm looking at Chateauneuf de Pape, for example, 15% is too high. If I'm looking at Barolo, 15% is really pushing it. If I see one 14%, I'm a lot happier. If I'm looking at Amarone, 15.5 is plenty. 16 is getting a bit much. And that's just a general guideline. But another thing I'm looking at is how classic or modern the label looks. I like a classic label, and I also like a label that doesn't tell me anything on the back.
Okay, why?
Because it means that they're not trying to sell their wine. You know what, you've researched this, you know what this wine is, you know who we are, you will buy it anyway. We don't have to
Market
tease you
it.
on the back.
Yeah.
We don't have to
Yeah.
market it.
We have a reputation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
We've
it.
been doing this for X amount of time. If you don't know who we are, it doesn't matter because we're going to sell our wine anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's what I like to see.
He is a bit of a wine snob.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
Well, we won't call him a
me.
snob. We'll call him an elitist.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I don't know how much that
God.
better than that
Oh,
is.
come on. I'm not an elitist.
A wine elitist.
He's an old world kind of guy, an old soul.
I am, but that doesn't mean expensive either.
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
that's good to know. That's good to know. I just find a wine I like to drink and drink it.
And
That's really
that's
what it comes down
ultimately
to.
all that matters.
You could say whatever you want about price point or vintage or, you know, the quality of the grape, but it's really whatever you like. And nobody is right or wrong about that.
Well, thank
Unless
you.
you're a wine connoisseur.
Well, thank you very much, Alex Powell and Priya Rao, for coming in and telling us all about AVineRomance.
Thanks and happy Valentine's Day to everyone.
Thanks for having us, everyone.
Thank you.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.